Hey, welcome back to my channel. If you like what you see, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. In this video, I'm going to show you how to build a jig using MicroJig clamps. This jig can be used in 3 different ways, so let's get started. So first you're going to cut a board. I did about 1 foot wide by 4 feet long. I ended up using my cutoff piece here. Originally I cut it for 16 inches, but that was just too wide. Then you're going to need to install a dovetail bit into your router, and MicroJig gives you this template to help set the depth of your router bit. And then I went ahead and ran this board through the router on all 4 edges. That way it gives me a place to clamp on all 4 edges of the board. And this is what it looked like after I cut those dovetails on all 4 edges. So I decided to use my table saw to cut some relief cuts just to make it a little easier for my router. Just make sure you set it at the correct depth. Don't do what I did. You can see my error where I cut all the way through the board. Just make sure you use that MicroJig template to set your blade at the right depth. And then you're going to want to clamp down a straight edge. This will help guide your router in a nice straight line. And I did this every foot where I made those relief cuts. And this will allow me to have multiple areas where I can clamp. You can make as many of these tracks as you want for these clamps. I just chose to do it every foot on this one and then all the way around the outer edge. So one of the things you can do with this jig is use it as a joiner. So right now I just grabbed a piece of rough sawn piece of roasted oak, and I'm cutting a nice straight line on it so that you could join it with another piece. And this is what the edge looked like before I used the jig I just built. You can see it's very rough and definitely not straight. And this is after. A nice flat surface that you can use to join. Another thing you can use this jig for is a tall fence. You would use this to cut anything on your table saw that's very tall or something that's very skinny and tall, like a cabinet door. Another thing you can use this jig for is a tapering jig. And what you would want to do is set it up so that it cuts at an angle. And then you can just use it to run it right up against your fence on your table saw, and it will cut a nice taper for you. Hope this jig helps someone out there. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. And always, please like and subscribe. And thanks for watching.